So there's a story that's told in Luke's Gospel, in the 5th chapter. And it goes like this. Once, while Jesus was standing beside the lake of Gennesaret, and the crowd was pressing in on him to hear the word of God, he saw 2 boats there at the shore of the lake. The fishermen had gone out of them and were washing their nets. He got into one of the boats, the one belonging to Simon, and asked him to put out a little way from the shore. Then he sat down and taught the crowds from the boat. When he had finished speaking, he said to Simon, "Put out into the deep water, let down your nets for a catch." Simon answered, "Master, we have worked all night long and have caught nothing. Yet if you say so, I will let down the nets." When they had done this, they caught so many fish that their nets were beginning to break. So they signaled their partners in the other boat to come and help them. And they came and filled both boats so that they began to sink. But when Simon Peter saw it, he fell down at Jesus' knees, saying, "Go away from me, Lord, for I am a sinful man." For he and all who were with him were amazed at the catch of fish that they had taken. And so also were James and John, the sons of Zebedee, who were partners with Simon. And Jesus said to Simon, "Do not be afraid. From now on you will be catching people." When they had brought their boats to shore, they left everything and followed him. Something about this story that at first hits you like a fairy tale, doesn't it? It even starts with a once upon a time kind of an introduction. Once, while Jesus was teaching. And then it unfolds with this astounding, unexpected, miraculous catch of fish. Something in the back of my mind thinks it has the ring of the fairy tale stories we were told as kids or watched as Disney movies complete with princesses. It's Cinderella with the pumpkin that turns into a carriage and the mice that turn into coachmen, all with the help of the magical fairy godmother. It's Aladdin and the genie granting wishes out of an ordinary lamp. This story has that feel, doesn't it, at first? Once upon a time, Jesus was teaching, and where there were no fish in the boats, and master fishermen, people who were professional fishermen, couldn't catch anything at Jesus' direction. Now the boats are so full of fish, they are about to sink from the abundance. It sounds kind of like a fairy tale, except something really, really important makes a difference between the stories we tell our children or that we tell to entertain ourselves or that big companies like Disney turn into musicals to make $1 billion and the story of Jesus and the reign of God. And the difference is, honestly, who's at the center. The fairy tale of Cinderella is the main character, and she is there basically to get what she wants. She wishes to get to go to the ball, and fairy godmother arrives to make her dream, her wish come true. All the things center on her, and by the end of the story, everybody lives happily ever after. She gets the prince, she's gotten to go to the ball, she's had a lovely time, but basically Cinderella just gets to wish what she wants and gets to be the center of the story, which is fine for a story to tell your kids at bedtime. It's fine for mere entertainment, but man, it sure has a way of feeding our egos and making us think that we're supposed to be the heroes of the story, that we're supposed to be the center of attention, that we're supposed to get the thing we wanted. Whether it's fall in love with the prince at the end of the fairy tale, or get a coach or a fairy godmother, or to get wishes from a genie in a lamp. Jesus' story, as miraculous, as wondrous, as fantastical as it seems, isn't a fairy tale. You'll notice it doesn't start with anybody wishing for a great catch of fish. Nobody says, "Oh, if only somebody could come and help us to have a great catch of fish. If only we could have something miraculous happen." And for that matter, Simon, Peter, James, and John, they're not looking for a new adventure to go on. They're not looking for someone to whisk them away like Rapunzel out of the tower, to take them away, far away from the place where they're living. They're comfortable. They're living the life they imagine. There they are, steady jobs, a business of their own, good friends, and work to be done. They're living comfortable lives. Jesus comes and disrupts what's comfortable. They're used to having good days and bad days fishing. They're used to, after you've been fishing all night, you use the daytime to go clean your nets, you get things ready, and we'll go out another time. They're used to that rhythm. Jesus interrupts it all and summons them away from the happily ever after ending that maybe we've been taught is what life is supposed to be all about. Isn't that interesting? The fairy tales always end with, and everything goes back to normal, or a good normal, and all the loose ends are all tied up, and the person has no challenges or difficulties. Everything's fine from here on out. The end. Dust your hands off. Jesus kind of stories grab us where we thought we were comfortable, where we thought we might have been living the happily ever after life, and pulls us into something new that might even mean leaving behind the things we thought we were good at. Simon, Peter, James, and John, they are professional fishermen. Whatever else you can say about them, this is their job. This is the one thing they know well. Later on in the book of Acts, Peter, James, and John, they'll all be made fun of by crowds of religious people because they're just unschooled, uneducated, maybe even illiterate fishermen. But they know what they're talking about when it comes to fishing. They could make a life with that. They have lives. The evidence in the gospel suggests at least Peter has a wife. Who knows? Kids, they have other extended family. Their dad, Zebedee, is in the picture for James and John. They've got family and comfortable lives. They've got a way they could have spent their happily ever afters. Jesus comes and disrupts it and pulls them out of it and says, I have something yet even better for you to be a part of. But better doesn't mean easier, maybe. Better doesn't mean more comfortable. Better doesn't mean necessarily what we expected it to be. We tell fairy tale stories so often as wish fulfillment, as here's the thing you want in life, you should be able to get it. The goal of life is you getting the thing you think you want. And Jesus has this way of saying, you're setting your sights too low. I have something even more magnificent for you to be a part of. And it's not just for you. It's not just for you and your 2.5 kids and your white picket fence life. It's not just for you and the things you thought you were good at. I want to summon you and pull you into an adventure that grabs a hold of other people so others can be brought into the goodness, so others can be brought into the fullness of life that is God's reign. I'm reminded of this line of Richard Lisher. I think it's from his book, The End of Words. He talks about the difference between a profession or a career and a vocation. The word we sometimes use to talk about our jobs. We sometimes use those interchangeably. Your profession is your job, your vocation is your job, both are your career, and we usually talk about those as the thing you do for money so that then you can have your happily ever after life. Lisher says, profession calls the best out of you. And you do your best and you get patted on the back for doing such a good job. And basically, a profession allows you to celebrate what you're good at so that you can get a gold star. A vocation, which comes from the Latin vocare, to call. What you are called to might mean you were called to leave behind what you thought was the best of you, what you thought was the best you had to offer, so that in our smallness and our weakness and the things we think are inadequacies, Jesus does something amazing. Peter and James and John are going to be called away from fishing for literal fish, and now we're going to be part of Jesus' movement to draw people. Not because Jesus can't use fishermen or Jesus can't use people who fish, but to say this isn't about you getting to be a hero and using the skill you thought you were good at. Let me pull you into something new, something even bigger. To be called by Jesus isn't to have our wishes granted, or even that we are shuffled into a happily ever ending kind of a life where everything's all neat and tidy and there are no more challenges. It's an adventure. This is just the beginning of something for James and John and Peter and for you and for me as well. To let Jesus come into our lives is not to invite the beginning of a fairy tale, and at the end we'll go, boy, I got everything I ever wanted. How perfect of Jesus, like a fairy godmother, to show up and give me the things I wanted because I prayed so hard or went on the religious quest or did the spiritual things. Instead, it's about surrendering and saying, well, here's what I thought life was going to take me on. Where will you lead me, Jesus? What other things will you pull me into that I can't even imagine yet? That's the kind of adventure Jesus pulls us into. All we can do for that is simply to be ready, to have our tools ready, knowing Jesus might summon us and say, good, you're good at this, we're going to use that skill. No, this is something you're not good at, that's fine, I'll teach you along the way. It's letting Jesus be at the center rather than me and my personal wish list. It's letting the people Jesus will draw me to be part of my life story and not just I got everything I wanted and a fairy tale. Where will Jesus call you this week? It might not be far away. Simon, Peter, James, and John, they follow Jesus, and they basically hang around the same area they had lived all their lives. They don't have to go half a world away or across an ocean. They're transformed right where they are. You and I might be sent right back into our ordinary lives, right back into the very places we have lived all our lives, as well as being called to go somewhere new or different. But it's unlikely that Jesus' job is just to give us the thing we think we want. If our approach to Christianity is, if I believe the right things or say the right religious words or go to church enough or pray hard enough or give enough, whatever, then Jesus will give me what I want. We've turned Christianity basically into a get-rich-quick scheme, a religious fairy tale. But if instead the good news is about saying, I don't even know what will give me the most full life, Jesus, take what I am, who I am, all that I am, this life, this mind, this body, all that I am, and not just the things I'm proud of and I'm good at, but the things I really, really struggle with. Take them all and see what you can do with them. That's the life Jesus calls us into. Where will Jesus lead you this week? That's the conversation we're having on Sunday, and we invite you to be a part of it. Join us and listen for the voice in the meantime of Jesus, who calls us beyond a fairy godmother's wish granting into an adventure we can't see the end of. See you Sunday.